This is my audience today. Here we go. Take a deep breath. In and out. There. You do that 22,000 times a day on average. Not for some namaste yoga or stress reduction technique, but simply a mundane event that happens without a thought, thanks to our autonomic nervous system. Seems simple, right? Well, maybe not so much, especially once we begin to take into consideration what actually makes up the substance that we are inhaling. We've all taken science class. We know about the photosynthesis process. Plants produce oxygen, which we are then able to inhale. Then we breathe out carbon dioxide, which is used by plants to continue this process. As we continue to dig deeper and deeper, unpacking all that the respiratory process entails, I don't know about you, but it's feeling harder and harder to breathe. So let's take a step back, because today I'm not here to educate you on the nitty-gritty of how the environment impacts lung functions, but actually the opposite, how we use each breath and that we are given to impact our environment. My name is Olivia Anderson, and today I'm going to discuss our responsibility to steward the land that God has created and given to us, and how we honor him by upholding the charge that he has put on us to do so. In short, our small but mighty part in tackling the problem of environmental pollution. With each breath we take, we have an opportunity to do our part in shifting our attitudes and actions toward this terrain from barrenness to blessing, from abominable to admirable in the sight of God. This is a call to action to take care of the earth and recognize that we play a crucial role in its condition, both positively and negatively, and I want to provide you with a few practical steps that you can take in daily doing your part to foster a thriving environment. And just to start with a Bible verse, Genesis 1:28, God blessed them, and God said to them, "Be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea and the birds of the air, and over every living thing that moves on the earth." The three areas I'm going to address are first some statistics and details about our current environmental state, and then what we can do to make an impact and to glorify God with the way we take care of his creation, and as well as what happens if this kind of change does not take place, as well as the result if it does. So more about the problem specifically. In 1979, Kenneth Hare posed a profound statement saying, "It would be tragic if self-conscious life should bring about its own destruction, and in so doing, severely damage the stage on which this drama has been enacting to the planet Earth. Yet, this is what is beginning to happen." So that was in 1995. And then in 2021, Pokaziv, a research conducted by Pokaziv, showed that as a result of human activities, a huge amount of pollutants are entering the world's ocean throughout direct discharge of industrial and domestic sewage, burial of toxic and radioactive material, emergency situations, mainland runoff, and shipping, mining, as well as through the atmosphere, just countless things. So as we can see, this is a problem that has been going on for, just through these researches, over 4 decades. So this is persistent and demands a solution. And as Jeremiah 2:7 says, "I brought you into a plentiful land to enjoy its fruits and good things, but when you came in, you defiled my land and made my heritage an abomination." Now this is speaking of overall, but this can apply to the way that we treat our environment and the abomination of the land, literally, in that sense. So the significance of this, the environment is a key determinant in our well-being and living condition. Schroffnagel, in his study in 2019, along with many others, he lays out and discusses each part of the body and how they each can be affected and diseased with issues of the environment. So it plays a big part on our physical condition, but it also plays a big part on our overall well-being and our mood, our socially, food, shelter, water, air, land. All of these things are directly impacted by our environment, our lifestyle, and our existence. Psalm 19:1-4 says, "The heavens declare the glory of God, the sky above proclaims the handiwork. Day to day pours out speech, and night to night reveals knowledge. There is no speech, nor are there words whose voice is not heard. Their voice goes through all the earth, and their voice to the end of the world. In them he has set a tent for the sun." And Numbers talks a lot about not polluting the land that you've been given, and just stewarding well the beautiful creation that we've been given. So, a plan of action. There It is super important, first of all, as we have just done, to be informed about what's going on and to continue and further in that. This is just a stepping stone for that. And on a larger scale for a solution, many have thoughts on this matter. One researcher, Remus Pravali, makes the claim that perhaps the one most promising strategy, if not the only one, is to implement large-scale geoengineering solutions, especially the ones based on carbon sequestration that involve less risks for the Earth's systems. But for you all, simple steps you can take right now. There are 6 that I want to propose to you real quick. So with gas prices right now, it's already becoming more tempting to walk over driving. So if you're able, just walk or ride a scooter or a bus, especially around campus. Don't idle in your car when you are driving because that produces emissions that aren't necessary. And also carpooling is a wonderful thing, especially again in college. Avoiding burning leaves and trash and other materials because again, the emissions and air pollution. Avoiding gas-powered lawnmowers and machines, conserving electricity and setting air conditioners no lower than 78 degrees. So using a blanket if you need. So that's super important so we don't just use all the heat. 78 does sound a little hot, but also for composting and recycling, although you have to be careful and do your research about where this is actually ending up because as we've seen, if you aren't diligent about that recycling and that the effort that you take to source your recycling to the right place, then it could all just end up in the same place. And so really just being diligent about that and composting and all of that. And finally, avoiding spilling or dripping gas at any cost, whether that means tightening the gas cap a little more at the pump or just in any scenario that you're in, just that is not helpful for our land. So finally, visualization. What happens if we do this? This would transform so many aspects of our life and society as if we're able to take care of our earth properly. It would have political, social, attitudinal ramifications, and just we would be able to glorify God even further in appreciating his land. In a visualization sense as well, Isaiah 55:12 says, "For you shall go out in joy and be led forth in peace. The mountains and the hills before you shall break forth into singing, and all the trees of the fields shall clap their hands." And that was a verse discussing the coming of the King, but it's a beautiful representation of like how we can glorify him through his creation. And so now we have learned a little more about environmental issues, what we can do about them. You may not have the power to empty out oceans of oil spills or mountains of trash, and I certainly don't expect you to walk away from this ready to take on environmental pollution solo, but advocating for the environment is so important, and we have the power and influence more than we realize to make a difference in our communities in real and powerful ways. So why not, as Gandhi said, be the change you wish to see in the world? Change does not begin with telling others what you've learned, but by putting it into practice and allowing them to see the growth in you. So while we are used to use each breath for the agency and tending of creation, we must be careful that what we are worshiping is ultimately the Creator and not the creation. And we do this as an outpouring of our love for him, glorifying him in everything that we do. Thank you.
Yay.